Wanted to get on real quick so I can talk a little bit of how we got situated. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it in the past videos, but we got into expediting after going online for a website called expeditersonline.com. I'll share the link. We've been on the road now a little bit over 17 months. I did do a 1-year update. I tend to make them here and then post them on my YouTube for anybody, so that way it's like more shrunken down to only restrictively what's going on in the truck. Anyway, so a couple of things that I could recommend for you, or I would recommend for you getting started in expediting. As I've mentioned before, you definitely want to try to be prepared with funds, so that way you are, financially in a situation that while you're waiting on your first check to kick in and getting acquainted with how the process starts, depending on who you end up working for, you might get 60% of the load, 40% of the load. Some companies actually are W-2, so I'm not really sure. This one particular is a 1099. It's a 60-40, so generally when you get a 60-40, you're the one paying the fuel cost. These trucks do require fuel and DEF. This particular company will refund us on our DEF and our supplies for the truck when we purchase supplies that are specific to the truck. But I'm not quite certain on the 40-60 if it's probably just you don't pay the fuel, they pay the fuel, so you get 40% of the load. I haven't experienced any other company in that aspect, just simply this one. It hasn't been horrible. We're still here, obviously. All of it is going to be adjustment. Many relationships aren't comfortable with being around their spouse all the time. You're not going to get away from your spouse. So if you're that kind of person that you're constantly bickering with your spouse, I don't know if this is going to help your relationship to bring you closer, or if it's going to really blow things out of the water even more. I can't say that it's a perfect perfect game plan to bring a relationship together either, because there's a lot of stress factors. So you have to be able to have patience for one another in the situation. It's like when I came on board, I didn't have any driving experience outside of school. My husband did. He'd already gotten out on the road a little bit, did a little, flatbedding and a little bit of dry van. So his tolerance for me was not as good, possibly, because I had no knowledge and I was probably very frustrating and infuriating at the time, asking questions, not knowing crap. Or making him feel like I just wasn't listening, because I wasn't translating his directions the way he was putting them out. It's a guy-girl thing. Guys can tell you something one way and a girl will read it another, and vice versa. Anyway, you'll learn to balance. If you really want it to work out, you'll figure it out. Give yourself patience, give your partner patience, be compassionate with one another for sure. Depending on what you have set up in the truck, like ours, the expediting trucks tend to have the refrigerators and microwaves. Our microwave is also a convector oven. Eventually we built up and bought a couple of other appliances. This particular truck is an upgrade from the one we had. The one we had did not have a stove top on it. This one has an induction stove on it, so of course we bought an induction pan to go with it. I've enjoyed it a lot more because I feel like I could do more with it as far as cooking and recipes. We got a slow cooker, air fryer, the stove, the convector oven, the microwave. We keep groceries in the truck. However, we still like to go out to eat, try new places, new restaurants that we've never been to. We watch TikTok quite a bit to look for places to check out at different states that we're going to be in when we know our load in advance. This particular company is non-forced dispatch. I'm not sure how all the other ones are, which that just means like you don't have to accept the load whenever they call you and say, hey, look, we got something that's going from this direction to this direction and picks up this day, drops off this day. Sometimes it might be an overnight, and you're not going to get time to be up all night with your spouse, because one of you is going to have to start the drive and one of you is going to have to drive throughout the night. Like, if you have to have it there, and especially that's what expediting is trying to get things there in a hurry, for the most part, in a safe hurry, not a dangerous way. He might start the drive, and by the time he's going to be done, it'd probably be like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, could even be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on when we pick up. That's when I'm going to have to take over and continue the drive to make sure we make our time to our delivery. Or vice versa. I might start the drive first, and then he will. in the very, very beginning, I was like, I'm never going to drive nights. He's going to take every nights, and I'm going to work every morning, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to deal with, you know, the heavy duty stuff. If we're going through mountains, he can take that shit, you know. You may as well get that out of your head. You can start that way, you can try it, maybe you'll find a way to work around it. But you're going to have to face those fears eventually. If you haven't been over the road, it can be very, very intimidating. I've never been out of Texas before this job, except to hit up a casino in Oklahoma. And obviously to Mexico. Well, not obviously, but to Mexico to visit family and so forth. Other than that, I've never really been out of Texas until this job. And now I've been all over the place. Still have not hit up Alaska. Hawaii isn't going to happen unless I take myself there. Have not been to the Dakotas, and I'm okay with that because right now it's still kind of winter time up there. Like here, we're currently in New Mexico. The mountains out here still have snow on the, you know, caps of the mountains and so forth, and some parts of the ground have some snow caps. But I understand that Dakotas has a lot more snow, so I'm okay to wait and hit those places up until the summertime, maybe. I don't know. I do hear it's beautiful. Eventually we'll get there, maybe. But anywho, do the research with the companies, you know, to see what's going to suit you better, like what's going to help you out. If it's going to be a forced dispatch, you know, be prepared to be under their rules and whatever they want. However, understand this, that if you choose the non-forced dispatch, you get paid per your load. So if you're not working a load, let's say you get a load that takes you out to Florida, and you're like, oh wow, we're delivering in Miami, you know, let's find a place that we could drop off the truck, pay to keep the truck at the truck stop, at the hotel, whatever, so we can enjoy the weekend in Miami. Weekends tend to be slow for getting freight, so you might be able to work that out without taking time off. But you have to be very, very careful where you're leaving your truck. We tend to get hotels. Hotels, our truck is the size of an RV. So there are hotels that have RV parking or oversized parking that will allow us to be there. We tend to get hotels where we want to take some time off so that the truck is where we are. And if we want to do anything in the city, we know it's going to be in a safe place. KOAs, Campgrounds of America, are great options as well, because they even have sometimes big rig friendly places. So even an 18-wheeler could go, because they have like 90-foot spaces. Excuse me. So RV parks, but KOA particularly has always been an easy in and out, great to work with. Your truck gets powered by your batteries, obviously ours do. You'll run your back power off of your battery when your engine's not running. And so being in a campground or a place that has RV plugs helps a lot with that, because you'll use that for your power instead of your engine, your truck batteries. That's very helpful. Like we've been to San Antonio, and we parked at the KOA in San Antonio, took the bus route right from in front of the KOA straight down to the Alamo so that we could check out the area. I'm born and raised in Texas, so is my husband, and we never really had a chance to go down and explore, because we were always up in North Texas where we're from, and never went down to San Antonio to really get to enjoy that. So we did more recently when we had our last couple of orders into San Antonio. That's been nice. Those are always good. There's ways to be able to enjoy your time off. Learn, you know, the area that you're going to be going into, so that you know what you can work with. Truck stops, RV parks, truck parking areas. There's going to be plenty of options. You just got to look for them and find them. There are also websites that might help with that kind of stuff. Like just Google search, like where can big trucks park, where can straight trucks park, where can RVs park, where can, you know, just, you'll find the answers. There's groups all over the place, communities on Facebook, things that follow videos on TikTok and so forth. But expeditorsonline.com, we did one application and it submitted our information to multiple companies. We ended up with a company that's been very well, has worked out very well. You know, if you want any information on that, I can give you that. Just send me a message and I'll let you know. Yeah, I don't know what else to touch base on right now, but maybe I'll make another video here in another few days or months or something.